YouTube en son Walter amca sizlere ömür ölmüştü. Tren kazasında kendisini kaybetmiştik. Şimdi devam ediyoruz. Bakalım ne olacak. Direkt atlasaydık aşağı.
Maybe
Niye
she
böyle?
was afraid I'd end up like Walter. But if she never told me about an uncle under the house, I can only imagine what else she was hiding. I don't want to make the same mistakes she made. Trying to bury something that's still alive. Now that there's only one of us left, or maybe two,
Kenardan gidelim de abi, ne
I
olur
thought it
ne
was
olmaz.
time I heard the stories for myself and found out what happened to everyone else. But now I'm worried the stories themselves might be the problem. Maybe we believed so much in a family curse, we made it real.
Bak. Ha, buradan tren geçiyordu eskiden. Burası gitmiş. Bu
I
sandalyeler
don't
ne
know
iş
if I should
abi?
even be writing this. Maybe it'd be better if all this just died with me. But I thought you should know about your family. And the history you're a part of. Though to be honest, I feel as lost as you probably do right now.
Harbiden nereye gidiyoruz şimdi? Ben de çözmüş değilim şu an.
I think the people in these stories believed them, for what that's worth. And when you look at the house, that history of imagination and stubbornness and madness, any of it seems possible.
Buradan atlayamıyoruz. Buradan devam o zaman. Burada ne var abi?
I think we've been surrounded by death for so long, we've just gotten used to it. What kind of family finishes building a cemetery before starting the house? It's embarrassing for me to admit this, but the pet cemetery made me more uncomfortable than the human one. 3 of the gerbils were mine, and 2 had been my fault.
Bunlar hayvan mezarlıkları.
Sven built the house, but it was Edie who designed the cemetery.
Bunlar da şey... Evin ahalileri bunlar da. Yalnız her şeyi fark ettiyseniz bir simge bırakmışlar. Burada kedi olduğumuz, astronot olduğumuz. Zaten inşa eden adam buydu.
I'm sure Odin's monument had been Edie's idea. My mom was always trying to move on, but for Edie, the past never went away. She could see it poking out of the water at low tide.
Ne oluyor abi? Şu an ben bulanık görüyorum.
Edie said she dreamed about the old house every night.
Bakmışız. Daha da gitmiyor zaten.
Edie's side was always easier for me to understand. But the older I get, the more I can see where my mom was coming from. Her dad had been pretty strict, but it wasn't enough to save her brothers. She was just trying to do better. There's so many things I wish I could ask my mom now. Part of me thinks this is what she wanted all along. For me to come back someday and find everything out for myself. But looking back on it now, if she told me there was going to be so much climbing, I never would have come when I was 22 weeks pregnant.
20 haftalık hamileyken mi? What the Hamile miyiz la biz? Lan biz 17 yaşında değil miydik ama? Anladım abi.
I never met Grandpa Sam, but I think he and my mom had a lot in common. They were both pretty intense. Sam spent his life shooting photos, but Mom said he got nervous being in front of the camera. I guess we're all afraid of something.
Ya güzelmiş bu arada. Madalyalar da almış.
Instead of hiding from death, Sam seemed to go out of his way to meet it. can't imagine my mom ever writing poetry, and yet...
A poem for Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea. Our father never hit us kids, at least not very hard, before the day my brother said with teenage disregard that he'd be dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard. My father made him come, of course, but Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart. I tried to talk him out of it, but though he'd never met her, we don't need a stepmom, were the words that
I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride.
When the time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined, and as a sign held up his middle finger. The wind picked up, and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent. The rain came down in buckets then, but no one seemed afraid that nature might destroy the tent our dad had crudely made. The thunder sounded much too close and full of angry power. But all my father said to this was, "Make the music louder."
Geçmiş olsun.
I wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone, just you, the wind, the sea, and foam. But I didn't. Until we found you.
She never talked about him, but Mom told me once if I was a boy, they were going to name me Gus.
Duties. Evler. Şu elemana da bir bakalım.
Dear Kay, do you remember the way Gregory used to laugh when he thought he was alone? Like something funny was happening, but only he could see it. I think he saw things the rest of us don't.
Oha. Kaplumbağayı biz hareket ettiriyoruz şu an.
Hand over, Gregory. It's time to. Hold on, sweetie. Hello? Sam, I told you I don't want to talk right now.
I wonder what he saw. What his world was like. He reminded me so much of Calvin. Lost in his imagination. Whatever it was he saw. I know how silly it sounds. That I worried about a baby being too happy. But I could feel him slipping away.
Sorry about that, Gregory.
I know you did everything you could. Maybe if I hadn't called that night.
Damn it. Hold on,
I wish he could have told us. About the world he saw.
Boğulacağız. Geçmiş olsun.
There's so much I don't understand. About Gregory. About everything. He'd want you to be happy too. Good luck, Kay. Love, Sam.
Dean, Edith, Sven, Uniborg, Lewis, Milton kaldı. Bir de Sanjay kaldı. Edith biziz zaten. Down yok abi.
My mom moved up to the loft after her brothers died. At the time, it was as far away as she could get. Religion was
İncil
another
abi.
thing my mom never talked about, but I think it helped her a lot after her dad died. She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay.
Tutamıyoruz mu? Counter oynuyor ama.
My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English. Lewis was born a year later. When my dad died, I don't think Mom knew where else to go. I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back. And to see kids in the house again. The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that. And for a while, things were good. Almost normal. But it didn't last.
Laptopu kes.
The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle. After Milton disappeared, the only thing he left behind was a room full of paintings.
Şuradaki sağdaki resim güzelmiş bu arada. Şu resim. Size bu resim neyi anlatıyor arkadaşlar? Evet.
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
Güzelmiş.
I was 4 when Milton disappeared.
Yalnız arkada çalan şarkı da güzel. Ambiyans uyumuş.
Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors. Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
Resepsiyonun altı vardı sanki. Öyle gördüm. Şurada. Gidilmiyor. Nereden gideceğiz? Canım geriden gitmeyeceğiz bence ya. Gerçi orada da daha yer var mıydı? Bir dakika ya. Buradan gidilmez sanırsam. Yok. Kolyemiz mi varmış la bizim? Gerçi daha da geçiş yolu da yok. Baksana. Geri gideceğiz ya bence. Böyle aşağı iniyoruz. Daha orada bakılacak bir şey yoktu da. Yanlış görmedim. Aynen. Tamam. Burası açılmıyor zaten. Karşı kıyıya mı gideceğiz acaba? Olabilir bak. Bence oraya gideceğiz.
Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Lewis blamed himself. After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room. Until Mom got him a job at the cannery. Everyone always told me to stay out of Lewis's room. Except Lewis.
Marcana, hadi kardeşim. Üf. Patlıyoruz. Hap var, rage var, forge var kardeşim. Hap var, Jigara var, X var, forge var. Sana ne lazım?
house's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
Klavye de üf. Tam bu kafa yapmıyormuş. Onu öğrendik.
I wish we'd stayed. But I understand why we left. My mom ended up leaving everything behind.
Allah.
What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner. But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night.
Aha edit biziz abi.
That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
EDITH diyor okunuyormuş bu arada.
the power had
Hello.
been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom said the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
Bakalım bizim hikayemiz
What you're
neymiş?
afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning. Okay?
Vay, anneannesi bırakmış.
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years.
Allah Allah.
God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way.
Oo.
I got turned around. For a while, I wandered. I started seeing things. Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them. Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it. Let go. I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great Grandma Edie again.
Yine görüşürüz hadi. Allah'a emanet.
The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it, but she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly.
Annesi hastalanmış. Bu konu hakkında hiç konuşmamışlar da hastalanmış.
She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone.
Annesi sizlere ömür arkadaşlar.
The last Finch left alive.
Son Finch ailesinden tek kalan biziz abi.
Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you and tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
Ananı satayım. Vay anana avradını. Tüh amına koyayım biz de ölmüşüz ya la. Güzel hikayeydi bu arada. Gerçekten hamileymişiz. Çocuk erkek doğmuş. Gelen giden niye herkes öldü, ben onu anlamadım ama şu an. Ben soldaki oyuncağı beğendim. Herkes bir anda bırakarak gitti işte. Ama orada 2-3 yapraklar vardı acaba. Onlara da bakamadık mı? Güzeldi bence. Kaliteli oyun yapmışlar. Fark ettiyseniz herkesin bir ailenin aile üyelerinin, bireylerinin hatıralarını görüyoruz. Daha editten başladık buraya kadar. Playtesters. Testerlara teşekkürler burada. Annapurna oyunu dediğim gibi Journey'nin yapımcısıydı bu arada. Tekrar hatırlatmak isterim. Enjoy, thank you. Ne demek hocam? Ben zevk alarak oynadım. Teşekkürler. The Edith Finch Team. Vay ne güzel olmuş. Beğendi. Abi çok güzel yapmışlar. İstediğinden tekrar hikayeyi başlatabilirsin diyor istediğinden. Vay amık biz de öldük ya la. Neyse arkadaşlar. Bir serinin daha sonuna gelmiş bulunuyoruz. Beni izlediğin için teşekkür ederim. Başka serilerde görüşmek üzere. Hoşça kalın. Güzel kalın.